going on, guys? MariK here, back with another Dragon Ball Super video. Today, we are going to be talking about the new Surge Leaders. We have 6 Surge Leaders now, one for each of the 6 color combinations. And in this video, we're going to go over whether or not these leaders actually have what it takes to be competitive. Is Surge Leaders going to be the new thing? Are multi-leaders going to be the new thing? Let's go ahead and dive right into it. So we're going to start off with the first Surge leader to be revealed. It was the Super Saiyan Son Goku leader, the red-yellow from the expansion set 9. When this card attacks, draw 2 cards, choose a card in your hand, place it in the drop area. Is a really solid ability. It's filling your drop area for various abilities, Overwhelm, whatever your deck might focus on. And you get to draw 2 cards, get rid of a card that's not of any help to you, and he doesn't have to attack a leader card. So really solid on the front side. And then when you awaken, draw 3 cards, switch an energy, and flip this card over. So not shy about hand advantage at all. It's a really good thing. He only flips 1 energy to active mode, which, I mean, to be fair, that's still pretty powerful in and of itself. Red and yellow have a lot of powerful 1-cost extra cards, counter plays, counter attacks. So, really solid ability for this leader. And then on the Awakened side, the Son Goku Surge of Divinity. You get to choose all of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, negate the skills for the turn, or give himself plus 10,000 and critical for the duration of the turn. Both of those abilities are pretty solid. You can negate everything on your opponent's side of the board. So all of your opponent's battle cards, including blockers, any that have activate battle abilities, you can shut all of that down, so you can go in for that final push. You can play your big guys without having to worry too much about it, and hopefully get in that final damage you need to win. Or you can just use the leader card, 25k critical, and that's for the duration of the turn. So if you have a battle card, or any card that switches your leader back to active mode, he can do it again, and you can also slap him with Double Strike via several cards in the game now. So, pretty solid leader. Definitely love the color combination. Although red and yellow, aside from the specific red and yellow cards, are kind of... I don't want to say they don't synergize well, but yellow is all about control. Red is super aggressive. I guess you could say the power reduction is kind of a variant of control at this point, but all in all, a red Saiyan leader that's also yellow, that just gives it so much utility via all the extra card support. Then we've got my personal favorite of the Surge leaders, the new green-blue Piccolo from expansion set 10. Once per turn, at the beginning of your turn, you get to look at the top card of your deck, place it on the top of the bottom of your deck, then draw 1 card. So, you're getting to draw 2 cards every turn. You get to look at the first one and see if you want it or not. And he doesn't even have to attack to be able to draw. That's really powerful in a leader. We've seen it several times before. Leaders that draw and get card advantage without having to attack and deal damage to your opponent are really strong leaders. And getting to choose whether or not you want to draw a card is phenomenal. Getting that extra card at the beginning of your turn also lets you choose whether or not it gives you more options onto what you want to charge. So really powerful ability there. He's got the same ability, Awakening, as the red-yellow Goku. You get to draw 3 and switch an energy to active mode. I feel like I would prefer him to get 2 energy to active mode, especially since he gets the auto draw without having to attack your opponent. So that would be my preference there, but still a really powerful generic front side for any deck that wants to run a blue or green leader. The Awakened side, on the other hand, is much more aimed towards a specific play style. When your life is 3 or less, you can either choose, for your opponent, choose 2 cards in their hand and send them to their warp. So that ability is heavily geared towards hand control, which works great for green. There's a lot of good green hand control cards. We're getting more of them in set 9, so this leader is very powerful for hand control. Might even be one of the best leaders for hand control. And then you can choose a blue-green multicolor card in your drop area, negate the energy cost, and place it in your energy. So you can make your opponent warp 4 cards from their hand with this leader, or you can get 2 free objections on multicolor energy for this leader. So this leader can go in 2 completely opposite directions with either green hand control or some blue-green energy ramp. We've already seen people talking about, oh, use Gogeta Hero Revive with it. Fucking get creative, people. Stop, like, playing the same stupid-ass card that should have been banned with the ban list last time. I mean, it's irritating to see people do that, but it is really cool to see a leader that can do some pretty crazy stuff. And with his color scheme of blue-green, there's some really unique color combinations that you can do just for the leader alone. He's got Saiyan, Earthling, and Namekian traits, so a lot you can do with that. Sadly, he doesn't have the God trait because he's from the stupid Dr. Wheelo movie, but this is a really good leader, and again, out of all the Surge leaders, this has to easily be my favorite leader. Not as generic as, say, the Red Yellow Goku, but his abilities are definitely powerful and geared towards a very specific way to play. Then we've got the Red Blue Son Goku leader from Set 9. When this card is in a battle, choose an extra card in your hand, place in the drop area, choose 1 card from your life, add it to your hand, draw a card, and then he gets plus 5,000 power and negate the skill for the duration of the battle. So you can do that every battle. You just have to discard an extra card. It doesn't specify it has to be a multicolor extra card or not. And you add a card from your life to your hand, and you draw a card. So you're easily going to be able to get yourself down to the amount of life you want to that the Surge ability requires on the Awaken side. So pretty solid. Draw 3 cards and switch an energy to active mode. Really, again, generic on the front side, which is a very good thing. Blue-red is a very interesting color combination, especially with all the support coming out in Set 9. You've got aggro, power reduction, and energy ramp. So, interesting color combination there to give you some more energy to play around with all of your low-cost, high-aggression battle cards. Or your extra cards that just say, hey, we're going to do all this stupid shit for 1 energy thanks to Invoker. More akin to the blue-green Piccolo leader, the Ultra Instinct Son Goku leader is a little more geared towards a specific play style. On the one hand, if you have a Universe 7 card in play, you get to draw a card, your opponent reveals their hand, you choose an extra card or battle card 35,000 power or less and make them discard it. So you can rip away counter plays, which is pretty cool. You can also rip away their negates, their super combos. There's really not a lot that gets around his ability besides almost exclusively secret rares and then stupid high attack cards. Like I think there's a couple of Jirens that have 40k and like a Whis. So everything else is going to be free game, but that's basically you playing this deck with Universe 7 cards. The deck doesn't have to be exclusively Universe 7, but you at least have to have one in play to be able to use that ability. The other ability isn't really geared towards a specific trait, but it is still geared towards a specific playstyle. You can choose up to 3 multicolor extra cards with different names in your drop area and or warp and add them to your hand. So the ones you discarded on the front side, you get back. Obviously, this goes with the Invoker stuff, so you're going to use it with the Frieza. Now, the Frieza is not Universe 7, thankfully, so you wouldn't be able to choose which of those abilities you wanted to use. But honestly, if you're playing Invoker and you're playing all the multicolor extra cards for 1 energy, you're probably just sticking to that strategy and not so much Universe 7 anyways. But again, this is a really cool leader, and it's cool that he has the ability to play 2 different ways. But again, you're focused mainly on whether or not you want that Universe 7 ability to look at their hand and rip a card out of your choosing, or whether or not you want to just keep recycling all of your extra cards for that Invoker. Then we have the green-yellow multicolor leader from Set 9, Cell. I think this is probably, while the Piccolo is probably my favorite of the Surge leaders, I think this is, in my opinion, the best of the Surge leaders for a few reasons. First of all, his activate main on the front side, you get to look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose a card among it, add it to your hand, and then choose a card in your hand and place it in the drop area. You're not gaining any advantage that way. You're setting yourself up. You're setting your drop area up for several different variations of play. I've been working on a few decks with this leader, and there's quite a few things you can do with that ability alone. But the fact that you can choose any card from the top of your deck and add it to your hand, you can choose extra card, battle card, doesn't matter what it is. It also doesn't specify you have to show your opponent, which, since it just says choose a card and add it to your hand, and you're not having to choose a specific type of card, no need to show your opponent. It's none of their business what you're adding to your hand. I like that his Awakened Surge is a little different than the others. You get to draw 2 cards, and you get to switch 2 of your energy to active mode. So you're going to break even card advantage-wise, but you're going to get 2 energy back, and there's a lot of stuff you can do with 2 energy, especially when your leader is green and yellow. There are several good yellow counterplays, and we've got several good green counterplays as well now. So, again, that's why I think this is the best Surge leader, in my personal opinion. His Awakened side is no less fantastic until the start of your next main phase. If your opponent plays a battle card, it is played in rest mode. So if you use that at the beginning of your turn, if they play anything during your turn, whether it be things that play themselves on counterplay or counterattack, they're coming out in rest mode, you can easily kill them. If it's on your opponent's turn after this, then anything they play has to come out in rest mode. They can do so to set up for the next turn, but they're not going to touch you on that turn. It is a fantastic ability. A field-wide 2-turn Crusher Ball is insane. It actually hurts me that people say this leader is bad. Not just because it's Cell, and Cell's one of my favorite characters, but more the fact that I'm looking at it going, okay, so it doesn't do what you want out of a leader, but there's no way you can argue that's a bad ability. A blanket-wide 2-turn Crusher Ball. And you're doing nothing to... no energy whatsoever. No energy. You're just removing one of the cards underneath him. For 2 turns, technically 4 turns, because 2 of yours, 2 of your opponents, you can shut down your opponent's plays. You can make it so they are not playing shit. And if all their stuff's in rest mode, even their blockers are going to come out in rest mode. Unless it's the exception of something like Energy Guard Android 17 that switches back at the end of the turn. You can take away your opponent's offensive and defensive capabilities with this one ability for no energy. It is stupid powerful. And this leader is like the red-yellow Son Goku leader. He's just super generic. Sure, that's more of a control ability, but it's a control ability in a way that you can go off however you want. And the only thing you'd have to worry about at that point is your opponent having counterplay or counterattack stuff. His other ability, letting you choose an opponent's battle card, KO it, and making them discard a card, is solid as hell. Sure, you're like, oh, well, you're discarding a card. Yeah, but really all you're doing is KOing a battle card, and you get the bonus of them discarding a card. So, say you don't need to, rest mode all the shit that they play. They got one card that's really pissing you off, blow it up. Granted, I mean, we have cards like Father Son Kamehameha, and there are plenty of easy cards to KO cards, so I don't know how often I would be using that ability. I feel like the first ability is infinitely better, but this is a really solid leader. Green has been getting some pretty good support lately. It's still my favorite color to play, not even just because of hand control stuff, just I like the way green and some of the mechanics play to green, and having the control that yellow does. Yellow's got... I mean, you could run 4 Crusher Balls plus have this ability twice and just literally not let your opponent attack with anything unless you have a chance to kill it first. Stupid solid ability, stupid solid leader, and I really just don't understand all the hate that people give him. Then we have one of the 2 promo multicolor leaders. It's Broly, green, yellow. His autos, it's interesting because you have to combo a card to be able to get his ability to draw a card, so you're not gaining any card advantage that way, so it seems really weak. But what I do like about it is if you combine this with the red-green Nappa super combo, you're going to draw a card, but you're not actually losing the card because he comes out into battle. And then you could combo him again from the battle area at any time for another 10,000 power. And that auto once per turn is not just on your turn, so you could super combo him out on your turn, draw a card, he'll come out. Your opponent attacks, you super combo him, you're going to gain the 10,000 power, still draw another card, because you don't have to super combo from hand. So it's a neat little gimmicky ability, but that's about all I could really think of that off the top of my head to take advantage of with this leader without me going and doing a shit ton of research before doing this video. But because there's so many red and green cards you can combo with, he draws 2 and switches 2 energy to active mode, which in a way I like, but I dislike, because he doesn't really get any hand advantage on the front side, so he kind of needs it with the awakened ability, but at the same time, having 2 energy to active mode while still keeping your card advantage even is pretty solid. There's a lot of good red counter cards, Denial of Hope being one of the prominent ones, and a lot of good green ones too, whether it be Preemptive Strike, Hidden Power of the Saiyans. So it's a good color combination, and having the 2 extra energy gives you a lot of options on the turn you do decide to awaken. On the Awaken side, we have 2 pretty solid abilities. The first one, choose up to 1 battle card in your drop area, combo with it, and this card gets gains double strike for the duration of the turn. So you can combo with your super combos if they're in there. You can combo with anything that's going to give you any added abilities, but you know, giving him the extra 10k and double strike is pretty solid. It's not terrible. The other ability lets you choose an opponent's battle card, ignoring barrier, and KO it. So getting to get rid of anything off your opponent's side of the board is a really nice ability too. A little bit better than Cells, because Cells doesn't ignore barrier. Instead you get the 1 card to discard, but still, it's not a bad ability. He's a little more about control, but I feel like unless you just want to run this leader because he's Broly, I feel like he's less powerful than the other leaders. His abilities are okay. He gets double strike for the turn, but only double strike. And you do get to combo with a battle card, but I don't know. I feel like he's kind of like the red yellow Goku, just not as powerful. Granted, the Goku gains the 10,000, gains critical instead of double strike. You're not comboing with anything, so the outcome is more or less the same. It just doesn't seem like he does as much. Again, getting a free KO and a battle card for nothing is not a bad ability at all. It just doesn't. It seems a little underwhelming compared to some of the others. He is, however, more generic than the red-blue Son Goku and the green-blue Piccolo, so he does have that going for him. Then lastly, we have my least favorite of these Surge leaders. It is Kefla, blue-yellow, just not a generic leader at all, really geared only towards Universe 6. So if you're not playing Universe 6, you're not playing this leader. Choose 1 blue or yellow Universe 6, energy cost 2 or less from your hand and play it. That is a once per turn. There's no cost to it or anything. So you can play, your cards for free, but you're gaining no advantage. In fact, you're playing so many of your cards probably that not only are you going to have not a lot of cards in your hand, but it'll be easy to use abilities that, mass wipe the board and then leave you with nothing. Also, this leader doesn't untap any energy at all. Instead, you just draw 4 cards. So, while she does let you play some of your stuff for free, what are you really getting out of that? And not having any energy to back up your plays after Awakening can be pretty dangerous. On the Awaken side, the abilities are not as Universe 6 centric. They're a little more generic. Draw 1 card, choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards, place it at the bottom of its owner's deck. So that gives you +2 as far as card advantage goes, which makes up for the front side, because you're drawing a card and getting rid of your opponents. It doesn't specify power, it doesn't specify energy cost, anything like that. It does not get around barrier, though, so it does have that downside, but that's a pretty solid ability to be able to get rid of an opponent's battle card, and it goes in the bottom of their deck. Now, whether or not putting it in the drop versus on the bottom of the deck is debatable which one's better, just because some decks can take advantage of it being put back in the deck, search it out again, and replay it. Others can take advantage of it being in the drop area to add it back to hand. There's no way to prepare for which is better, just because certain decks do different things. But not a bad ability nonetheless. At least it doesn't bounce it back to the hand like fucking most of the blue support does now. Or its other ability says, at the beginning of your opponent's next turn, choose up to 3 multicolored cards in your drop area, add them to your hand. That's... I mean, it's since they don't have to have different names, like the Red Blue Goku, there is an upside. If you're running multicolor super combos, you can add them back to your hand. You could add all of them. So, there are options there. It's not bad at all. The front side is completely useless if you're not running Universe 6. So unless you're just like, bam, I'm just going to Surge Awaken as soon as possible. And that could be what you do with this leader. Is just Surge Awaken so early that the energy untap is irrelevant. You're just like, oh, beginning of the turn, I'm just derp, I'm going to friggin' Surge Awaken. And you start out at 15,000 power, and you can get rid of anything that just becomes a pest early on. That also lets you add your super combos back whenever you want, or any other card. So, like, Kefla has her advantages. I still say that, in my opinion, it's the least useful, because the front side, if you're not playing Universe 6, is dead. But she has the upside to just Surge Awaken whenever and not care, because she's not getting anything from the front side if you're not playing Universe 6. So, it's debatable, but I'd still put her last on the list. So if we were to take these Surge leaders and put them in order from best to worst, as far as just from a generic, any deck can play it standpoint, we're going to have to give first place to the Perfect Cell leader. The ability to choose any card from the top 5 cards of your deck is a phenomenal ability. It gives you so much control over your turns, over your plays. The Awakened side is super fantastic. You've got pinpoint destruction if you need it with that second ability, but you've got essentially 4 turns to lock down your opponent's plays, to either set up for your own plays or to just go in for that final push for game. Really solid leader, and it's not just my bias towards Cell. I legitimately think this is the best overall just because of that blanket-wide Crusher Ball effect. Second, it has to be the Super Saiyan God Son Goku leader. The extra draw on attack is fantastic for building up your advantage, putting stuff in the drop area if you're playing a strategy that involves the drop area. The leader's awakened abilities work really well as a generic leader for several decks, as the leader can blanket negate all of your opponent's battle card skills, or it can power himself up to be able to deal his own damage. So if you wanted to go the route where you're not focusing so much on getting your big battle cards, the leader can do the work for you. And the extra 10,000 and critical is pretty good, especially if you combine that with a Champa or something else that gives him double strike. His attack power can really get up there. Not to mention, red-yellow is a powerful color combination, especially for a Saiyan leader, and that's why Super Saiyan God Son Goku takes the number 2 spot. I debated on third place for a little bit, and ultimately it came down to being the blue-green Son Gohan and Piccolo leader. The leader has probably one of the best front-side abilities we've seen in a leader in a long time. The ability to look at the top card of your deck, decide whether or not you want to draw that card or throw it away because it's not going to help you in your current situation, and then not only draw that card, but an additional card on top of that, without having to attack your opponent, is amazing. A lot of leaders have to attack. Some have to attack a leader directly. The awakened abilities, even though they are a little more geared towards specific abilities, are still not bad at all. They're not necessarily generic, but while they do support a specific playstyle, they don't hinder any other playstyle. just making your opponent warp 2 cards from their hand still generates you card advantage. Still takes away cards that they could stop your attacks with, stop your plays with, make big plays with, or even just combo to survive your own attacks. The ability to also put a blue-green multicolor in your drop area into your energy in active mode is really powerful. Even if you're not playing a ramp deck, 1 extra energy, you're not going to complain about that. That's a ridiculous ability that is going to help you out in the long run. And that is why Piccolo takes the number 3 spot. Number 4, easily to me after that, has to go to the red-blue Son Goku leader. Now, I was really hype when this leader was announced because Universe 7's always been one of my favorite decks to play, and I was happy to see us finally getting support for him. However, the leader is not so much geared towards Universe 7. Its Activate Battle on the front side just lets you add a card to your hand. You're plus 1ing, you're kind of getting your life down a little bit, and you're getting an additional 5,000 power for that battle, and you can do that every battle. So if you didn't care so much about card advantage, you can continue to do so. His Awakened side is obviously going to be where he shines. If all you did was rip a card from your opponent's hand, it wouldn't be that great, but the fact that you get to look at your opponent's hand, choose whatever you want to discard, with the exception of anything with over 35,000 power, is what makes it so good. Because now not only have you taken away what you deem to be the biggest threat, you now know every single card they have available. It's not terrible, but it to me doesn't seem like you're getting as much out of it without playing the very specific roles that they have assigned to Universe 7 and Red Blue in this set. And that's why Ultra Instinct Son Goku is in 4th place. After that, our decision making was pretty easy. The last 2 Surge leaders, in my opinion, are not too grand. So 5th place we gave to the red-green Broly leader. His abilities are super generic, but they're super underwhelming too. The front side, you're not gaining any advantage whatsoever. And on the back side, he does the similar things to the other Surge leaders. While he does get to KO a battle card ignoring barrier, that's nice. But otherwise, he feels like an inferior version of the red-yellow Goku, which he lets you combo with a card in your drop area. The only real benefit there is if you were to use like an OG monocolored super combo and you got the extra draw. But otherwise, I just don't see why the Broly leader, I personally don't see him being that great. And that's why I put him at 5th, which of course leaves 6th place as the blue-yellow Kefla leader. Her frontside ability is useless if you're not playing a specific Universe 6, and it has to be blue-yellow. You can't be playing with the old green support or red support to get anything out of it. So, really, really bland on the front side. It doesn't get any energy, untapped, only draws. And then on the back, the abilities are okay. Putting a card on the bottom of the deck is nice. It does have that going for it, but other than that, it's generic on the back, but it's so generic that to me I don't see any reason to play this outside of playing the blue-yellow Universe 6 stuff, and I'm pretty sure there are already better leaders for that anyways, and so that's why we're putting Kefla dead last in 6th place. So that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this video. Overall, I like the Surge leaders. I like them as a mechanic. It's pretty cool. They all do various things. Just Broly and Kefla just suck. I mean, and thankfully they're the 2 annoying ones to get. Red Blue Goku and Cell will be in set 9, and the Red Yellow Goku and Piccolo are in the expansion pack. So they're a lot easier to get, and they're of course the better ones anyways. So let me know what you guys think of these Surge leaders. If you like them, if you dislike them. Let me know how you would rank them and which Surge leaders you think are the best. Also, let me know as far as it's gonna be a stupid request, but the ranking screen, since they're multicolor, I was trying to do every other color, every other character of the words, the alternating colors. It seemed cool with the idea seemed cool in my head. Uh, Looking at it all together, it looks like it could be a little jumbled up. So I have another way that I thought about doing it, but I was going to gauge your guys' opinions first. So let me know what you guys think about that. Also, this video was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. I was expecting like a 15-minute video. So what I might do for future videos is I might cut out me making opinions about all the cards before, just go straight into, hey, this is what I think of these and where I'd rank them. That way it's, I don't know, maybe it's redundant. I tend to do that a lot because I just speak and whatever. See, we're doing it again anyways. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. We're going to go ahead and get the frig out of here, and we'll see you guys in the next video.